Welcome back to the Force with Friends podcast. Today we are tier ranking a whole lot of Star Wars video games. So, Ricky, welcome to the podcast, Pop the Bounty Collector.
Hello, YouTube. Thank you for
By
inviting me,
popular
man. I
demand.
feel special.
Yeah, man. No, thanks for hopping on. We're super excited to have you on here. I know we've been friends for a little bit now and kind of watching each other's stuff. So we're excited to have you on and to chat some video games with us.
Well, I appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, that means Will has two friends.
Two.
Two.
Kevin actually is just an acquaintance.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I don't even really like Will that much.
This is more of a business. It's a business that makes no money.
Yeah, right.
So, Ricky, before we get going, let everybody know where they can find you.
Well, you guys can find me in Instagram. What else we have here? Xer, Twitter.
Yeah.
TikTok, I don't even know. I do TikTok, but TikTok, I don't know. They don't love me in TikTok, and YouTube, it's Pop the Bounty Collector. My channel focuses on everything Star Wars, from TV shows, trailers, reactions, unboxings, going hunting. I go to Star Wars Celebration. I go to MegaCon conventions. Anything that has to do with Star Wars is going to be in that channel.
For sure. So everyone, before you watch this, check that description, sub to Ricky, and then come watch. So what we're doing today, first of all, we talked about this last week, kind of like, oh, this will be a great idea. And then we got into the tier maker, and there's like so many Star Wars video games. I mean, I didn't even know some of these. So let's get this up on the screen. Like, it's incredible how many there are. So there's this whole list. I think it's easily over 50 in this list.
Yeah.
Someone made the list. I don't know. It wasn't me. But either way, there's a lot here. So Kevin and I kind of preliminarily went through the list. And there's some games we haven't played or just aren't familiar enough with, or, that type of thing. We've put those in the haven't played, not ranking category. So that doesn't mean we don't like them. It doesn't mean they're bad or great or anything. We just don't feel like we can give an honest assessment because we don't know much about them. So if you do know anything about these games, though, like, drop that in the comments. I'm sure they're fine. Like, people have played them. So let us know what you think about these. But just out of sheer ignorance, we're not going to rank those. And then kind of as we go through this list of 30-something-ish games, if there's one that we just don't have an opinion on or can't say enough to, we'll throw it in there as well. It's more of a reflection on us than it is on the games. So that's kind of where we're going there. So before we get into the gaming, do y'all have like a history of how y'all got into Star Wars games, or is it just kind of like the same as any other Star Wars stuff? You like Star Wars and this is part of it?
Well, with me, it was more of watching my friends. So I got maybe lucky 4 video games a year. So I really, really had to pick which games I was going to get. And a lot of it kind of leaned towards more sports. I really didn't pick up my passion and love for Star Wars until I was like 15, 16. So a lot of my games were more sports. But I know some of these Star Wars games because I went over my friend's house. So a lot of these games that we're going to be rating or ranking, I've played them, but not owned them. I've always gone. It's one of those things where you've gone over your friend's house, and you guys just sit there for hours and just play. So that's my kind of tier into Star Wars game. But as I got older, then that's when I started buying Star Wars games.
Gotcha. Kevin, what about you?
I think they just kind of crossed over at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved video games as a kid. Grew up playing Mario and Zelda and all that stuff, and I think I love the Star Wars movies, but I didn't really get into Star Wars until I started reading some of the books. And then I think at some point I started realizing those things coexisted, that there were Star Wars
Yeah.
video games. So, um, yeah, I think maybe the first one I actually owned was I got like a super cheap copy on a pretty crappy computer of the X-Wing games, like the old X-Wing versus TIE Fighter games. Had
Yeah.
probably like a $10 joystick, um, playing on the, I'm sure it was the worst graphical settings you could imagine, but you were flying an X-wing. So I mean, it
It
was it
was
was just
cool.
that feeling as a kid. You're like, this is really what it's like to fly an X-wing.
Yeah.
Um, you believe that as a whatever-year-old, but yeah, no. And then both of those things were things I loved, and they just kind of came together at some point. So
I hear you. Mine was similar to yours. Like I was into the movies and the toys, and then it's just another Star Wars IP thing. So I was
yeah,
into it. So that's kind of, and I love video games too. I'm not a gamer. Like I'm not good at games, but at least not this type. I'm pretty good at sports games, but I'm not
Mhm.
as good at this type, but I still enjoy playing it. So that was kind of my thing. So let's just run through these like as they come. So the first one up here, and this is like for me, this is a cool one. It's the Lego Star Wars Complete Saga. So this is, if you remember, there was two Lego Star Wars games back in the day on PS2 and Xbox, and I think it was on Xbox. But either way, it had them, and one was like the original, right? And then they had like a prequel one that came out separately, and then they had them together or something of that iteration. And
Yeah.
so you play through the whole thing, and you're getting all the mini, or not the minifigs, but the coins and stuff. Studs is what they call them. I think it's a fun game.
It was definitely a fun game. I just love, like, I guess you could say the cheesiness or the kookiness
Yeah.
of the game itself, but it was still Star Wars. And then on top of it, it was Lego. So it was
Yep.
cool. And then just seeing like the prequels and then seeing the funny scenes, like it's a key scenes in movies,
Yeah.
but to see it done in Lego was just so great. So it was something that you could just keep on playing. It wasn't something that you were gonna get bored of. It just like, okay, I gotta complete this. I gotta complete this. And then you try to find everything. I was one of those that I had to be a completionist. Like if
Yeah.
I don't have it, I'll get upset when I don't have all the blocks and I didn't get all the coins. I would just go
yeah.
back and play it again.
Yeah. Kevin, what do you
I
think?
I so I got into Lego games later. I actually never played this game.
Oh wow.
No, yeah, I don't know why. It wasn't until I guess maybe the Skywalker Saga was the first Lego
Mm.
game I played. I thought they
Wow.
were
So
cool, but I just
recently.
never got
Okay.
around. Yeah, never got around to playing them. But um, I mean, I feel like the cheesiness and the hilarious nature of it has kind of persisted through all of them. It seems.
For
So I'll
me
defer to you guys on
personally,
this one.
this is an S tier game. Like it's highly replayable. It's the Star Wars story. So if you love the Star
Yeah,
Wars story, it you love the game, and it's goofy. It's kind of easy. Completionist, like even if you beat it, you got to keep going to beat it
Yeah,
more. So I think
yeah,
it's great. Um,
I'm cool with
this
that
one,
ranking. I'm
okay,
cool with that ranking because the simple fact too, I know a lot of Lego collectors that's been collecting Legos for years. Love Lego Star Wars.
Hmm.
So
yeah,
it was two of the
That's
things
cool.
that they love the most. They love Star Wars, they love Lego, and then they love playing video games. They just put all of it into one.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend Eric, I used to go over his house and he would be on this all the time. And I felt like, okay, we got NBA games we could play. We used to even play NASCAR. And
oh
I'm like,
yeah.
but he still wants to play this. So
And you can
That's
play it
great.
multiplayer too,
yeah.
like 'cause you can both play the stories. That's pretty cool. This I'm not sure what this is. It's like Lego Star Wars 3, I guess. Is this the Clone Wars one, like on the Wii or something like that? I'm not sure about
Yeah,
that.
I never played that one. That
Neither did
one
I.
for the Wii, no. I
It's going
know
in the bottom.
I know the Wii games and I don't know if it's I know the Wii kind of the graphics went down
Yeah,
compared to like
yeah.
an Xbox
Yeah.
or a
Hmm.
PlayStation, but also for Nintendo to do these games, they added something extra. So I know some of these Wii games got something different than the basic games for PlayStation and Xbox.
Hmm.
It
I
wasn't
was like a
anything
Wii
major, but it
Sports
was like,
person.
yeah.
I played the bowling on the Wii.
Yeah.
That's what I had.
It's funny.
Wii Sports. So
Wii
this
Sports,
one,
yes.
this next one, this Star Wars Battlefront, I can't read, so let's see. Elite Squadron. Um, is that a PSP one? Is that how that was? Do y'all remember? I know one of them was like exclusive to the PSP. It may have been a different one, but I never played Elite Squadron.
No, I just played the other two base ones. I didn't play
Yeah,
that
the
one
other
either.
two base ones, so I never played that one either.
I played this one over here. This is it Renegade Squadron? I think I have played it, but we'll get to that. So next up we have Jedi Fallen Order. I think that's one that a lot of people
Ooh.
know about. It's
Yep.
pretty new. So Kevin, I know you've played through this. What's your initial
Yeah.
thought?
I thought it was great. I think it came at a time where I think we were in need of a good Star Wars game.
Mm-hmm.
It had been a little while, especially for a good story, just a good story narrative game. And man, I felt like they delivered on it because it really juggles a lot. You got Cal Kestis and the Order 66 story. You got Sarah, right, and her losing her apprentice, and you got Dathmir and kind of going through the Night Witches, and Marin comes in. They really tied in a lot of stuff
Vader.
in a really good narrative. There was just a lot of pieces of Star Wars, and then probably some of the best use of Vader that I've seen in a while in that story. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great story. I thought it was really fun to play, which is obviously important. So I loved it. Yeah.
I'm with you. I think it's great. Like I think I've told you this before, but I mean, I'm not good at these games. I've said it. So like I set it to story mode and just played through and I explored and got all this stuff. And it's cool exploring and getting like different uniforms or outfits and like saber pieces. And for the lightsaber, I had built, in the game, you get to build your own custom saber.
Yeah.
And then I went to Galaxy's Edge and built a saber. And when I got home and was playing the game again, I had built the same saber and didn't know it. I think the
funny.
very the bottom piece might have been different. Everything else was identical to the color. So it was meant to be as far as the Force goes, So I thought that was cool.
For me, it's definitely going to be a top tier. And I know a lot of people might be like, wow, you're going to put it all the way in the top. But just a simple fact, the storyline, they did a good job, right? They introduced a character, Cal Kestis, that we never heard of, we never knew, but we grew to love. That story was so great. And then it traveling to different planets. You got BD with you. You could, customize BD the same as your lightsaber. You could change your gear. Like I said, crazy with Darth Vader coming at the end. It's just, the Night Sisters, everything just hit about the story. So for me, it was something new that it looked good from far away because I remember when they displayed this game, we were in Chicago for Star Wars Celebration in 2019. So we saw this game and I was like, another Star Wars game. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but I'm glad I did because I fell in love with the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think people are always asking now, when's Cal going to pop up in something else, right?
Yeah.
You've done a good job when people are waiting to see your character. So yeah, no, I agree with all that. I think it deserves to be at the top.
The story is just top notch too. I mean, you talk about an area or an era of Star Wars that we keep just throwing little things at. Like you get the Order 66, you get that little time gap between 3 and 4. I mean, Star Wars Rebels probably explores that time gap as far as story start to finish better than anything we have so far. But by the time this story is over, this could be the best storytelling between 3 and 4. It's so good. And Cal, the actor, is actually what the character looks like. So you leave that door open for showing up and stuff. I mean, I just think they're killing it with this series, particularly Fallen Order. I think Fallen Order is so good. It's a great game. Also, if you don't have the game yet by some chance, and you've got Xbox Game Pass, I don't know about how PlayStation works, but on Game Pass, it's free now if you have it. So you can actually just log in and play the game. So that's pretty cool.
I think they're both on there now.
They are, on EA Play.
Yeah.
Yep. I was gonna tell that when we got to the other one.
My bad.
So next up, the Force Unleashed. Like some of these are duplicate, I think, because it pulls it from both systems.
Yeah.
But we'll start with the first Force Unleashed. I did play this one. I didn't play the second one though. But the first one, you know, you're introduced to Star Killer, right? And so you've got Sam Witwer. Is this his Star Wars debut, right? Like this is how he gets
I think
into
so,
it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's been like a million characters ever since. I think this is such an interesting story in this game, like a Vader apprentice. That's something that would be cool to see
Yes.
on screen.
Just remember playing. I remember getting this game at midnight because it just looked at GameStop. I remember it just looked so good, and then just hearing that Darth Vader had an apprentice,
Yeah.
right? A secret apprentice. And then you're just able to do like little flips. You're using the lightsaber. You're going and traveling to different places, and I just love the character himself. So it just was such bad A. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just he was just
Yeah.
bad, and I was like, wow, I never experienced a Star Wars game, at least for me, using the lightsaber like that, and then the combos and the fighting. So I loved it.
Yeah, I agree.
Kevin.
Yeah, I think it was fun. The over the top things you could do in that game. I mean, you would just send people flying 100 feet off into the distance with electricity around them. Yeah, so the force aspect of it, the way they really did kind of overblow it was entertaining, but they actually fit in a
Unleashed.
pretty good. Yeah, one might say unleashed. Will one might say that. But no, but like there was a decent story in there too, right? Like this apprentice who kind of realizes he's on the wrong side of things and kind of makes it right. And I think at the time there were some ties in with like the start of the rebellion or something at the end of that story. Obviously it's not canon or anything now, but it was a decent story they managed to squeeze in there with it. So
Yeah.
I was surprised that they managed to fit that in when I think really the goal was just to make you feel as awesome of a Jedi Force user as possible. But it was the narrative was good too. So
Yeah. I was young playing it. Like I'm a little bit younger than y'all, and like not too much, but a little bit. And so like I would have been a kid when this came out, but I just remember when you're playing it, like you could just mess people up with him. So like so it was just kind of fun to hop in and do that. You know, I don't recall a ton as far as the story goes. I just remember it being really fun playing it as a kid.
Yeah, I think trying to figure out the most things you could do to a single enemy at one time, like you could pick them up, throw your lightsaber at them, force electrocute them, and then send them hurtling towards another group of people. Just the ridiculous overkill nature of it.
Where would y'all put this one?
I would put it at A. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree.
It's something that I feel like could this be a game that the playability piece, right? I'll play through it once, which I did, but pick it up and play it again, probably not. Versus like Lego, Star Wars complete set, you're gonna play that multiple times. Jedi, not Survivor, Fallen Order, I played that multiple times as well. Versus just this one, it's a good game, it's a good story. If you just want to pick up and just start slashing people, it's also awesome. But like for me, I only played it once and kind of like that's it. Just stood there.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm good with A.
That's fair.
I don't feel like it's at the same level as other things I'm going to put in the top category.
Yeah.
But still a lot of fun.
What do y'all think about the sequel to it? I never played the second one.
I never played the second one.
Kevin, you get to call the shots.
I did. I played the second. Honestly, I'd put it at like a B or a C. It was not as good. I think the story was a lot less interesting, and so you're still doing a lot of the same cool over the top stuff, but it just wasn't quite as compelling. They didn't really do a great job, I feel like, of explaining why he's back after that first one, other than that he was just a clone. So
a clone, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So it was still entertaining, but it was I didn't think it was as good as the first one.
His name's Galen Merrick. Is that right? Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hence all our speculation in Ahsoka,
Marok. Yeah.
which we were all wrong about.
Yes. Love it. So next, looks like we have Jedi Knight Academy. Kevin, which one is first, the blue one or the silver? Or is this the same but different versions?
The blue one's first. Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the blue one. I never played it.
Never played it.
No.
You.
These came from the Dark Forces games. So with Kyle Katarn, and then he becomes a Jedi. And really, this might really be the first game where they get to actually let you kind of play around as a Jedi, because it kind of shifted from shooting in Dark Forces to you get a lightsaber, you get some force powers. So it was a lot of fun. I'd probably put it at a B.
Okay.
It was enjoyable. It wasn't anything particularly amazing about it. Kyle Katarn's a cool character.
Right.
Jedi Academy, I'd put it an A. It's the follow-up, but you get to like make your own Jedi, and you kind of go through training. You get to pick your lightsaber style,
That's
which is
awesome.
pretty cool.
Was that one?
And they really added
one
to the
that's
lightsaber
open world?
combat. Not really. Well, I want to say there were like open levels. Maybe they were pretty linear. There was some different routes you could take, but they were still pretty linear in their level design. A lot of fun though. You could do some pretty cool stuff in your lightsaber battles. If you've never messed around with it and you just want to make a Jedi in training and go hack some Sith up, it's fun.
It's on the Switch now too. Like you can get like all.
It's
they
probably
have
on everything now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know for a fact on the Switch you can get. I mean, don't quote me on the number, but it's quite a few Star Wars games, like 6+ for I think less than $50, like bundled into one thing. And I know those are a couple that are on that. I'm pretty sure. So next up, one of my favorites, which is Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh yeah.
In my personal opinion, it's the best Star Wars game that's ever been made, strictly because I don't know if it's because I grew up in the generation of like the make your own storybooks. And so, like it's like, oh, if you want to do this, flip to page 37. And then you keep reading the story from there. Like they always had those at the book fair. And Knights of the Old Republic is that in a video game, in a Star Wars game, and the story's really good. So you get to like, make your own. Is it an RPG? Is that what you would call it?
Yeah.
In the gaming world. So you get to choose your own things, and it's kind of open world, and you're still playing a story mode at the time. You get to build your own saber, even though the graphics, I mean, it's older. It's not like you're building a Fallen Order saber, but I think it's a great game. I'm currently playing through it on YouTube. Shameless plug. You can find that link in the description.
I know this was a big game. When this game came out, it changed a lot. I personally did not own the game. I know playing a little bit over my friend's house, and like I said, going over my friend who was a big Star Wars fan. I know this one, when you could hear the buzz, you could hear that this is one that kind of switched the game up for a lot of people. And I know that's all they talked about, and it's countless hours of playing this game.
Yeah.
So, and then the characters just became so popular, so big, that now you see them, and we want them in live action.
Mm-hmm.
You see them cosplaying all the time at any convention you go to. Some of their figures are worth a lot of money right now. I know the Funko Pops were very popular when they came out. So definitely this has to be up there. I know if we didn't put it up there, they'll be coming for us.
No, I think it's got to be at the top. No, you're definitely right. It was a big deal when it came out. I don't remember that much attention going to a Star Wars game before it. And it was just well received pretty universally. I mean, the idea that you got to be this Jedi who became whatever
spoiler alert
you chose.
Now go ahead. All right, spoiler alert.
Oh,
I was just going to spoiler alert so you can.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, well, the game's 20 years old. I mean,
well, I guess the cool thing about the game is depending on how you chose to play it, you either proved that evil stays evil or evil
Mhm.
can be redeemed, right? And so
Mhm.
two very different endings depending on how you played it for that character.
Yeah.
And it's a character people are still wanting to see, right? Like you're constantly having people like, when are we going to get Revan, right? And
Yeah.
so,
I mean,
no, I think it's got to be at the top. It was such a great game.
to me, it's the top. I never owned the game. I'm waiting for it to be. Now I know I could get the old game and you could play it like cheap plug. Will's playing it right now,
Yeah.
right? But I'm waiting for the remastered.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know they got, some people say it get canceled, it didn't get canceled, but just to show you how much that this game is so popular and the character, I pre-ordered the hot toy of Revit.
Oh wow.
Nice.
So you're gonna
Yeah, and
have
that's
like
that's
Revan
that's
in your
not
room.
that's not a cheap at all. But just to know the impact that this game had, that then it
Yeah.
created an argument, right? The big argument was who's better, Revan or Darth Vader, right? And me, I'm more of the movie. Like you can even ask Tony, if it wasn't movies, I didn't watch it. I didn't pay attention to
Mhm.
it. Like I didn't watch Rebels when it first came out. I
Yeah.
didn't watch Clone Wars. Yes, this was a video game, but to me, I felt like, oh, these are Star Wars characters, but they're not canon. They're not real.
Mm.
Like George didn't do this,
Yeah.
So I was one of those people that Vader would destroy him, but just to know the popularity,
Yeah.
just from a video game, and obviously there's books and a Revan and his whole story. But man, like I said, he's so big, so it has to be a top there.
Yep.
No, I agree. Now, when you get to the second one, though, I don't think it's still good, but I don't think it's as good as the original.
There's some people. It wasn't the same. I remember hearing people saying it's good, but it's not, like you said, not better than the first one.
Yeah.
I still feel, I don't know if it's A material. I don't know. I didn't hear. I didn't feel the buzz was big when they came out. Then afterwards, you kind of just heard kind of died, and everybody's
Yeah.
still talking about the first one. So I don't know what you
Yeah,
guys think.
I think they tried to recreate. I mean, you had that big story plot twist in the first one. They
Yeah.
tried to do something similar with it, but it wasn't the same, right? I mean, the core game was pretty similar, right, in terms of you earn skills and equipment and all that. It was a lot of fun, but the story just didn't quite have the same lasting effect as that first one did.
You do get some cool characters though introduced. Like you get
do.
those Sith lords. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. And of course, like they
Kreia
add a lot
the other
of
one?
features and force powers to it. Like they didn't strip anything back from it. It's just sometimes
Yeah.
simple is best.
Which I do
Y'all
have to
think
say,
it-
going back to the first one, HK-47 is probably one of the best Star Wars characters ever written.
Yes. Yes.
And I loved everything he said in that game, and him constantly trying to get you to murder everyone. So,
I'm with
just
you.
thought about that. Yeah.
Also,
But
not
anyway,
a big
no.
fan of Mission Veo.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
She gets on my nerves.
Imagine a
Yep.
kid playing that, murdering everybody.
Y'all think
Meat
this is A or
bags.
B?
Mm.
It's not lower than B, but I don't know
Yeah.
if it's higher either. I don't know.
I could put it at either one, so I'll defer to you guys.
You want
I
high
don't feel
B?
I don't feel that strongly about A or B with this one. I could see either one.
Yeah.
I'll go high B.
We'll
B
do
and a
that.
half.
and a half.
We've already done the Lego Complete Saga. I think we already said we hadn't played this one as well. So Lego The Force Awakens. Now this one, here's the deal for this one, because I have the Complete Saga ranked so high. I was in college or had just graduated when this came out. When did this game come out? Like 2016 or something. So like I guess I just graduated college. I had pre-ordered this game. This is a funny story. So we worked at a summer camp, Ashley and I did, and we weren't married yet, but we were dating, and we had this kid a counselor get bit by a black widow spider. And it was like so serious. So like it was our night off. And like I've been looking forward to this night, not just for weeks, for months, because I've had this game pre-ordered. It's the day I can go pick it up. And so Ashley's like, we have to go see him in the hospital, and he's awesome, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna go. So we go see him, and we did like the whole visiting thing or whatever. But we also have like friends also coming to visit him, and I'm like, all right, we gotta go, gotta get to GameStop before they close, so I can go get this game. And then like that summer, like during my off time and stuff, I played it, and it did not live up to the hype for me. For me, like being so focused on getting this one game after so many years, and it kind of stunk to me.
It was fun. I wouldn't compare it to the complete. I guess it depends on. It's weird, but how you connect with those characters.
Yeah,
That makes
And I
sense.
connected so much with the prequels and the OT. Then when I started playing this, and it also could have been in 2017. What was I? In my 30s. So it also could have been, my attention span to playing a Lego game wasn't there. It was kind of like, what else is
yeah,
new? So I'll play it. It's fun. I wouldn't put it at an S tier, A or B, maybe C. Um, but it wasn't something that I came back to, like, with the complete
yeah.
saga.
My biggest letdown on it was so Lego Star Wars games, really, like most of them, at least the ones I've played. I haven't played that Clone Wars one or whatever it is, but they're like such big games. You get to play through all the stories, and you've got all these characters. And this did have all the characters, and it came with like DLC, and you could probably get extra stuff on it. But you were just playing through episode 7 and then a couple stories
Mm-hmm.
here and there. So it was kind of limited for what we come to expect from Lego games. And I was so hyped about The Force Awakens at the time as well. Like this was not like a sequel hate thing. Like during this time period,
Oh
the
yeah.
Star Wars hype was through the roof. Like things were good. So for me, I think it was just the letdown of expecting this huge game and not getting a huge game. You get to play through the story, like you beat it pretty quick. And so just for what I expected out of Lego, it wasn't it. So like it's probably a B or a C for me, honestly.
Yeah, because I know I've had Lego Batman 1 and 2, Indiana Jones, the Harry Potter. Uh,
Yeah.
so I played all through those, and just like you said, it was very short compared to the other ones. The other ones took
Yeah.
a while. It was something that you had to accomplish and beat, but it took a minute for you to beat
Yeah.
it, and you got more playing time, enjoying it. But I feel also this year, I'm trying to remember, there was a lot of other competing video games that came out this year that probably took a lot of my other priorities versus this one. So I bought it
Right.
because it was Lego and it was Star Wars, and I remember having
Yeah.
a good time with the other one. I played it for a little bit, but it kind of just stood on the shelf with all the other games while I was getting all the new games that came out that year.
Gotcha. So, Kevin, now that you've played a Lego Star Wars game on the list, we're to the Skywalker saga, the complete saga. Now, before we get into
Yep.
this one, you want to talk about me having a game pre-ordered for a while. This one took years to get out because of the debacle that was the Rise of
Yeah.
Skywalker. Like the rumor out there that no one will ever confirm is they changed the Rise of Skywalker so many times that Lego just had to like completely keep redoing that and could never get the game like out past the storyboard because like, well, actually that's not how this is going to end anymore. So once it finally got here, what did you think about it?
I think it's fun. I mean, again, it's my only Star Wars Lego game I played. I love the tongue-in-cheek nature of it, where every scene is just a joke. Um, and then it's really fun to just pick up and play, right? Like if you got 20, 30 minutes and you just want to run around and hack some things and collect some pieces, like it's mindless fun to an extent,
Yeah.
thrown in with kind of just the crazy humor. Um, Set in a pretty familiar, right? You know the story points. You're not surprised by anything. Um, but I mean, it's fun to just kind of pick up and play.
What do you think, Ricky?
I know I didn't pay too much to it. Oops, sorry. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Oh, you're good.
But yeah, I didn't play too much. I think around this time when it came out, I started actually dying down from video games. It was a good run, I guess you could say, from 13 all the way to like I don't know 35 of playing video games. I guess it looks like when I hit 35, this one kind of like it still got bought
Yeah.
and digitally because now it's like the digital kind of
Mhm.
thing. But yeah, it just stood there, and it was one of those things that why did I end up spending my money? I'm not even playing it. So,
Yeah.
my
I'm
opinion,
kind of in the boat with you on that. I'm still into video games, but I bought it on the Switch because I wanted to be able to play it wherever. Like if I was traveling or whatever, I want to be able to play it. And I think I beat the prequels on it. And I didn't necessarily like the open world nature of like having to wander around to get to the levels and stuff. Um, I think the graphics are great. It's fun. I mean, it's a Lego game. It's a good time. It's a lot better than the Force Awakens. But I didn't really start playing it again until it was on Game Pass for free on my Xbox. Then I'm like, okay, I can pick that up again. And that was probably like a year or two later. So the one on my Switch, I don't think I've touched it since like 2021 or two or whenever it came out.
wow.
So I don't know. I mean, it's better than a C for sure. I don't know. Is B a fair landing spot? A or B? What do y'all think?
I don't think it's an A.
Nah,
So
it's not an
B
A. Definitely a B.
sounds good. Um, Kevin may lean into you on this one. I don't know, Ricky, if you've played it. Rogue Leader on the GameCube.
No, never owned a
Yeah, that was
GameCube.
Oh,
that was
GameCubes are
the
fun. I did have one.
oh yeah, they had some good games. That was it was a trilogy of games. It was the Rogue Squadron, Rogue Leader, and then the what is it? It's on there, Rebel Strike. So you could kind of put them all up in there as one thing because they're really kind of all the
Okay.
same. Um, but it was
Oh yeah,
just you
I
fly.
did play Rebel Strike. I remember that one.
Yeah, I mean, it just takes it takes you through some of the familiar Star Wars plot points, but some are just random levels. There's not really much story to it, but it's
Yeah.
fun to fly around in Star Wars ships and blow things up. Um, which at the time, which gosh, I don't even remember when those games came out. I couldn't
It
even
would have
begin to
bit like
guess. It
the
was a while back.
2004
Well,
to
because
6 range. Yeah.
the Rogue Squadron one came out on the 64 initially,
Right.
so it was a while back. But yeah, I mean, I didn't have any other options to fly around in an X-wing and blow stuff up, and that was fun. It was definitely a more accessible version than the X-wing versus Tie Fighter series, which was a little more intense.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I'd probably put it at a B.
Okay. Are you gonna say like that whole group maybe lands at a
Yeah,
B,
because
like
again,
wherever that went?
they're all kind of a lot of the same. I mean, depending on which battles you
Yeah.
like best and the different games, but it's all the same kind of gameplay loop.
Was it
Am
like
I
a
missing
totally
another one
different
for
game
it?
or DLC?
No, it was like 3 different
Yeah,
games.
it was different. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. The first one was on 64, and then I think the second two were on GameCube.
I guess I might have the 64 one somewhere in here. Yeah, Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
There we go. We took one off the haven't played list.
Hey.
I remember this one, the Star Wars Starfighter, and then I think Jedi Starfighter was the follow up. Is that the correct order?
Yeah, I think so.
They were. I was young for these. Like, when did Attack of the Clones come out? 2002,
Two.
right? So I'd have been like 9 years oldish when these started coming out. Because I think they came out around that time. So like, it wasn't like I was excellent at them, but I remember it being fun to like. I got it for a present one year and just flew around. But outside of that, I don't think I'm qualified to speak to this.
I actually didn't play those two.
No. 2002, it was what was it? SmackDown?
Yes. Is that Here Comes the
NBA,
Pain? Is that the one that came out in
yeah,
02?
FIFA,
Yeah.
and MLB. Those were the games that I got around 2002.
Well, I specifically played Jedi Starfighter, and I remember it being fun. So I'm going to put it middle of the road.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
I don't know that I actually played this one down here. Now, the next one, this is kind of like a cult classic for some people. The Republic Commando.
Yeah.
That was kind of an intense game. I remember as a kid playing through it. Did y'all play it?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
The
loved it.
Rebel Commando. What was it? More of
As clone troopers.
strategic, kind of like
Yeah,
It
was
was
a
a
first-person shooter.
first
Yeah,
person shooter. Okay.
You do have some, you kind of command your squad a little bit, but
Yeah.
nothing too tactical or anything. Um, no, I loved that game. It was great. I mean, that was really the first game where we get a personality for some of the clones.
Yeah.
Obviously, the story's not canon or anything now, but it was a really good story that really. But prior to that, we had Attack of the Clones, and at that point, the clones, while interesting, they really were just kind of generic,
Yeah.
faces.
CGI bodies.
So they hadn't really started to really integrate any personality into them yet, and so with this game, it was really cool because they developed a story around this group that you got to know is very distinctly different, and so I loved it. It was a great story. It was a lot of fun to play. And again, it was pretty intense. So for me, like this is one of the top tier Star Wars games.
Okay.
You go an S on it?
I would.
Okay.
But I don't know. Where do you sit on that?
I'm telling you, so many of these games, I grew up in the middle of stinking nowhere. So I mean, like if you can't tell in my voice, so we would drive, like we would get our games, and then there's like this little video game store. It was not like a GameStop. That would have been like a big deal, but it was just a video game store, and we would just constantly be trading in Star Wars games for other Star Wars games. So at some point, this one was like a swap I got. And so I played it, for a little bit and swapped it for another. So I was really young playing this, so I'll defer to you.
Yeah, no, I think at the time people really bought into the characters. I think they were really invested. I mean, you look at Scorch from we just finished Bad Batch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like not really the same character, right? They threw him in there as kind of a homage to this, right? It's obviously this backstory doesn't exist, but it didn't change the fact that people were really mad when he got offed in a pretty easy way. And so I think people still really appreciate those characters and how it was really cool to kind of put a identity to some of these clones. So I think at the time it was pretty well received, and I think it stuck with people to an extent.
I think that's fair. Now this next one here, I think I can't read. It's little. I think it says Clone Wars, and I think it's on here twice. Maybe like a Wii and a Wii U. Did y'all play these?
Mm-mm.
I haven't played that one.
Did not either. And I don't want to make the Clone Wars fans mad. Me and Kevin do that far too often, and they get so mad in the comments. So
we don't even hate the Clone Wars. I don't even know how we make them mad.
We just don't like them enough. Clone Wars fans are loyal, and I salute y'all for it. Good soldiers follow orders, guys. Right? That's what y'all like to say. So next up, though, I did play this Clone Wars game on PlayStation 2. Graphics weren't incredible, and I was really bad at it, but I do remember playing it. That's about
Gunships.
it.
That's all you got to say is gunships.
I didn't play that.
It's got to be up there.
Did you play it, Ricky?
No, I did not play it. I know this was something that me and Tony want to get when we go to Japan. That's one of the games that I'm 100% sure that this is one of the games that's in Tony's list and my list. I want to say you said this was PlayStation 2, right?
That's what I played it on.
Did this game also come out in GameCube or no?
I can tell you real quick. Y'all are going to get so many games, by the way, in Japan. Like, y'all are going to make out on the games.
That's awesome.
There's so many games, and it's crazy. I try to figure out, like, you know how you wonder, like, what was I doing in my life? Like, all these Star Wars games that came out and that I don't know anything about. It makes you feel like, man, are you really a Star Wars fan? Or are you just fake, So all these games that came out that me and Tony are looking at the trailers or watching actually footage of people playing it, and we're like, yo, this has gunships. We love the Clone Wars. We love Clone Troopers. Why was I not playing this game when I was young? You get to fly the gunship. right? When I watch videos of people going and they're flying it around, I'm like,
Yep.
wow. So to me, it's already gonna be. It has gunships, so it'll be B level or above. But I never played it, so I can't give it an S class. I don't
I
know,
had
Kevin.
fun with it as a kid. Now, again, that standard's low. I was easily entertained, but it does come out on the GameCube, or it was on the GameCube,
Okay.
and it's a 74% Metacritic score. So we're going to give it a B. It's right in the middle
Okay.
there.
It is interesting though. I'll say because I agree with Ricky. Like, there's a bunch of games that somehow just flew under my radar, right? Like, and I just wonder if, like, with the internet and things being different then, if it was just less visible.
Right.
Maybe.
If it's not the big game, if whoever's putting stuff out there views it as just, well, maybe the Star Wars fans will buy that. You very easily could have just missed it. And so I
Yeah.
wonder how much this happened with some of these games and what I missed out on. Some of these I didn't even know existed.
And the
So I'm with
prequels
you
just
there.
got panned too. Like
Yeah.
when they came out, like the
That's true at
adults
the
did not
time.
like the prequels.
Yeah.
So
No,
Don't
that's
get caught
true.
with a prequel game. You're gonna get made
That's
fun of.
true. Yeah,
yeah.
they were getting some hate back then.
I think for me, this is just me speaking. Like at these times where certain games came out, like there was an era where you're gonna get definitely an NBA game, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the popular games were NBA and WWE, WWF game, right? Call of Duty started becoming very popular
Hmm.
with all the games like that, and then they also had Battlefront, not Battlefront.
Yeah.
Was it Battlefront?
Battlefield.
Battlefield.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry. So a lot of the stuff, like I guess what Kevin was kind of saying is like the advertisement, like
Yeah.
some of these games didn't get advertised as much as the new WWE game or the new Call of
Yeah.
Duty. Pre-order this and you get a skin or a gun, or you get to rock an old NBA jersey or get the new FIFA ball or something.
Hmm.
So when I walked into a GameStop, or when it was called EB Games,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Electronic
Oh yeah.
Boutique, or I was getting horror games. I was getting Resident Evil. So
Yeah.
those were kind of like popular games, and I'm pretty sure Star Wars that games came out around that time, it just wasn't getting that popularity.
Yeah. And
And
I
it
think
didn't
that's
catch
those
my
probably
guys,
that.
attention.
they would trick you into getting like a Game Informer subscription.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's like, I
I
think
had
that's
that.
where I saw Republic Commando. Like, I think I just
Yeah.
Mm.
saw it on the front of a Game Informer and I was like, oh, this looks cool. Right. And so, yeah, that's funny.
It looks like next we've got the Old Republic. It's like that MMO game. So I haven't played this
Never played it.
iteration of it. I never got into the mass multiplayer online. So
Mm-mm.
I
I've
haven't
got some
either.
friends that love
Yeah.
it. It's got really cool cutscenes.
Yeah.
People like I think still do streams with this. Like I think they can still get on and play, but I don't know enough about it. This one here, if this is the one I think, it's that Battlefront. I think it's Renegade Squadron. There's zero
Mm-hmm.
chance I can read that from here. But I had that on the PSP. I'm pretty sure if this is the one I'm thinking. And as a kid who just Battlefront and Battlefront 2 were probably like my favorite. Like as far as hours spent, I played those
Mm.
so much. And then I got this one and I just thought it was kind of meh. I don't know if y'all played it.
I didn't play that one.
No, I mean I played it, meaning at the time it came out. I want to say I was working maybe at GameStop, because there was one moment that I was working at GameStop, and when you worked at GameStop, you were allowed to take games home, like, and you had to check it out.
Hmm.
They wanted you to be like well educated and be able to speak about the games when consumers come in. So I remember getting this game and putting it on my PSP, and I was like, nah, not gonna get it, not for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was because there was just some PSP games that hit. Like the
Hmm.
God of War games were really good in the PSP. So there were some games that were good, and I think this game for me, I felt like I need to see it more in a bigger screen
Yeah.
than a handheld.
That's fair.
But
And I
again,
just
I don't.
confirmed it was the PSP game. It
Yeah.
was the 07 release.
Mhm.
You're right. Like it is what it is for this game. I mean, I don't think it's terrible, but I would say it's like C
C
level.
class, yeah.
Yeah, because it still had some of the Battlefront 2 features. I do remember that. Like, I want to say the gameplay was somewhat similar to it as far as the PSP goes. So not the worst game you'll ever play, but there's a lot better. Bounty Hunter, another cult classic. This game is fun. I remember playing it, and like you can still go on YouTube and watch those cutscenes on it. It's pretty wild.
I've never played this game, but I know a lot of people have. So I know it's very popular, like you said, Gold Classic. I don't have it. I don't own it. I love the cover. Love Bounty Hunters. But I never played, so I can't give it really a ranking.
I don't know why or how I picked it up, but I did at some point when I was younger, and it was just a lot of fun. I mean, you literally just run around as Jango Fett and shoot everyone.
You can do some bad things in this
game. Flying around in a jetpack, you can shoot off your missile off the back. He can shoot at 2 different people at the same time with both his fists. Like it was just like, this is awesome, right? Like it's funny to look back at games like that now and see the graphics and just how in awe you were of it at the time. No, I remember that game quite fondly. It was a lot of fun.
I think it's a high B at a minimum, like because it's just it's kind of absurd, but it's cool.
I couldn't tell you anything about the story or what you were trying to do. I'm assuming you were bounty hunting, like just based on the name, but no, I'd put it at a B. It was a lot of fun, but I don't remember much else about it.
I just remember you go around and shoot people, you know, like it was
a whole lot of that.
Now this next game, peak Star Wars for me. I remember being a 5th grader playing this, and you could get this game. It came out like a week or two before Episode 3 hit the theaters, so I had actually already beat the game before Revenge of the Sith hit theaters.
Oh, wow.
So I knew the ending and the alternate ending.
Look at you.
Yeah. So
I just the simple fact of it's Revenge of the Sith. The game was awesome. I remember it coming out the week before. People were like, spoilers.
Yeah.
But I'm like, really? You don't know the story of Darth Vader? I feel like it has to be S. It has to be S, yeah.
It's it for me. I played this so many times, and the replay value on this game is low. Like there's not a lot of innovation in replaying it, but I just loved Revenge of the Sith so much. I played it through a few times.
I feel like I need to go play this game now. I never played it.
It's fun.
I don't know if it was just because I felt like it was just going to be the movie in a game.
It
was. I already knew everything, but it seems to be pretty well loved by everybody that played it. So maybe I missed out on something. I might need to try to find it with all the gaming time I have to play through it. So
you get a little bit extra in it outside of the movie. You know, they throw you a bone or two, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I never played this Obi-Wan game. I don't know.
I didn't either.
No. It looks cool, but I didn't have an Xbox
I actually
until
do
later.
Remember when that one came out, but I didn't either, and I think it was only on Xbox at the time.
Yeah,
and that's the thing is, like, again, I didn't get Xbox until Xbox 360.
Yep.
So I don't even remember that game.
Yeah.
Some of these I'm looking at, I'm like, where was I?
Yeah.
I was probably in high school by the time I got the original Xbox, and played Knights of the Old Republic and stuff on it. So yeah, I didn't play this one. This Star Wars Racer Revenge, I didn't play it either. I don't know if either of y'all did. Looks like pod racing themed, I guess. I don't know. That's another Clone Wars that we haven't played. What about this Star Wars Racer? You played this one?
Was it good? Episode 1 Racer? Is that the one it is?
Are you talking about this one right here?
Yes.
Oh yeah, the N64.
Nice.
Yeah. Ricky brought the receipts.
He's got it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I mean,
it was fun.
There wasn't a lot to it, but it was fun to drive around in a pod. So
it was fun driving around, and it was also very annoying. Because it was there was some points that were very difficult.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny hearing little Annie crashing every time. But it was fun. It was definitely fun. It reminded me because the N64 is my my favorite Nintendo system.
Yeah.
And I had NASCAR for N64. So I remember when I had the same year NASCAR for N64 and I got the pod racing, I was like, cool, it's just like NASCAR but in space.
That's
So,
funny.
but it was a good game. I wouldn't say it's like S class for me personally. It was a good game to play. It's not an S or an A. I feel like it's a
Yeah,
B for me.
I agree.
Yeah,
It was fun. I mean, I don't know that it was something that I played a really long time because
yeah.
I feel like once you got what you were going to get out of it, it was just kind of done. But if their goal is to make you feel like you're in Star Wars racing a pod, it was, they did that. It was fun. So
Hmm.
Mission accomplished. So, Squadrons. This one's, to me, I think people can go a couple ways on this one. For me, I was really pumped about it. I remember, I think Ashley got it for me for Christmas a few years ago,
mhm.
and it's a super pretty game. Like, it's cool.
Yeah,
I just had a hard time getting into a story where you were mainly just flying around a lot. So I played the first few levels quite a few times and just would stop and come back to it. So I never really played it past that. It just didn't quite capture me, if that makes sense.
To me, that sounds like a game that's either C or D because if it didn't capture you or you didn't complete it the one time, like for me, the way I see it is a D is a game that you played and didn't even play through it at all. Like you played it once,
yeah,
you gave it a try, and it's not good. C is that you played a couple of levels, you didn't complete it all the way, but you remember it. You remember having some good times with it, but you didn't finish it. B
yeah,
is a game that I feel like you beat it. You went through it,
Yeah.
you beat it, it was fun. And then A is like I beat it, the story was good. And then S is like I beat it multiple times. The story was amazing. I wish
Yeah.
they made a movie out of it. There were so many things you could do in the game. So for me, I feel like definitely this one may technically be the first D.
Kevin, are
I
you going to redeem it?
I not really. I mean, I beat it, but I still
Oh,
would
so
put it
you,
down
yeah.
at like a C.
See?
Now if you're rating it off of how good it looked and the sound and the visuals of
It
Yeah,
just
looks
feeling
cool.
like you're
it
in
looks
Star
good.
Wars, I mean, like they got all of that perfect, right? Like the
Yeah.
lasers, the starship sounds, like all of that stuff is really really top notch. But beyond that, I mean, I love Starfighter games. Like I think it's so fun. I've always loved the big Starfighter battles in Star Wars,
Yeah.
and so I already probably like it a little bit more than most people. But I still came away after beating it like I'm not going to play that again, right? Like
Yeah.
it was fun flying around in these ships, but nothing at the conclusion of it was like, oh, I want to go back and do some more of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would put it at a C just because I really enjoy the visual and the audio aspect of it. I feel like they really did good with that, but beyond that, it's not something I'm going back to.
So, well, yeah, I think C's fair. Um, it's free right now on EA Play again. So if you've got that Xbox deal or EA Play, you can play it for free and see if you like it or not.
Or
I
if
just
you're if you're a big
realized,
multiplayer person, it's got a big. I mean, you can play against other people. I didn't really do that, but
yeah,
if that's your jam.
Speaking about playing with multiple people, the next one.
yeah, right. So we'll do these, and I forgot that I added Fallen Order, and then when I hit the full screen view, or not Fallen Order, but Survivor, it
Survivor.
took it back off because it wasn't on the list. So we'll wrap up with Survivor. We'll just
Yeah.
verbally talk about it, but it's time to review the Battlefront games, which I think they're like the high point of Star Wars gaming, in my opinion, as a mass reach type deal. So let's start with the
Yeah.
OG Battlefront. I don't know if y'all can hear this in your head right now, but the Galactic Conquest deal, like this is Galactic Conquest. You remember
Yeah.
that? And then it
Yep.
would zoom in on the thing, and like that's just classic to me.
I know countless of hours of playing this game, people talking about it. Um, so I know Battlefront first one has to be up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
agree.
for sure. And it's like it's so simple as far as just like a that type of game goes, like Call of Duty style, whatever.
Hmm.
There's maps on there, but they don't go crazy. You get your typical classes of troopers. you do get to do kind of the battlefield thing where you can do air or ground battle, which is cool, but it's just like normal stuff. Very simple game, and it does well. I still replay it occasionally.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I'm not really huge into the competitive multiplayer shooting games. I mean, I played Call of Duty here and there with friends and whatnot, but I still really got into this just because it was fun,
Yeah.
right? It was Star Wars and it was fun. I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that. So
Yeah.
I'm good with it being up at the top.
I have an old Xbox, like original Xbox, just like sitting in the closet, and like
Hmm.
if I ever want, like I just take it out and put the put that game in it and play it, and it's just like when I was a kid when it came out. I
Wow.
love it. Now, Battlefront 2, I still think it was really good. They added so much to it. Like
Hmm.
it's the same concept but a lot more. For whatever reason, I don't like it as much. Couldn't really pinpoint why, but it's still a really good game. You get to play as the heroes
Yeah,
in this game.
that's interesting because I feel the same way and I don't really know why. I can't really put a finger on why I don't like it as much.
I never
You,
got to because I think I was more at this time still focusing on like the Call of Duties.
yeah,
I was
Hmm.
playing that way more, so it was
Yeah,
kind of like, are you really gonna play this? To me, I think around that time was more of, what are my friends getting? That was a
yeah,
lot of the
yeah,
decision
yeah,
was, what are my friends getting? Because we're all gonna hop on and we're gonna play. And I mean, when we played, I remember coming out of work at 4 or 5 o'clock, and we played to like almost 12 o'clock midnight.
yeah.
Like, my ex-wife at the time would bring me my dinner upstairs in the room. My headset would be all sweaty, so playing Call of Duty. So yeah, I didn't really play this one, so I can't really kind
Yeah.
of rank this one.
I
So I'll
I
leave
didn't
it up
play a
to you
lot of
guys.
it at all. So
I played a ton of it. I mean, on paper, it's better than the first one because you play with the heroes. There's a ton
Mm.
more maps. Story mode adds a little bit more to it. You get to like fly into the ships. Like you had to win the land battle and the space
Mm.
battle. I mean, it
oh
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
it should be better than the first one, but in my mind and apparently in Kevin's, it's not. So we're gonna
And
go
you'd be a
high
better judge than I would be
high.
because again, I didn't play it that much.
I mean,
It's a
eight's
lot of
still good.
fun.
Eight's
Yeah,
still
a
good.
lot of fun. Now the Battlefront that came out in like 2014 or 13 or something like that. This was like was this Xbox
PS3,
One and PS4? Yeah,
PS4 or PS3.
maybe three. What PS
Okay.
are they on now? I don't know. I'm not a PlayStation guy
5.
anymore, so I don't know.
I
So
don't
Either
remember which one
way,
it
I know it
was.
was on
Yeah.
Xbox One because I had one. Um, this was a fun game. Like I actually played online with people.
hmm
Um, I thought it was really great graphics. You really expansive as far as the maps go. Like you play on really large maps in these,
hmm
and like really good team based objectives online. You can do your classic team deathmatch stuff like that. You got the heroes. Now a lot of complaints on these games is where they throw in like the DLC and all the junk you got to buy. Like they're just
Yeah.
nickel and diming you to death. But just at face value, I thought it was a fun game.
I mean, for me, it was an S class, but it was more, I guess, my experience that I had playing with friends.
Yeah,
When this game
Yeah.
came out, I remember countless of hours of us playing it. The graphics were amazing. You being
mm.
able, I think this was the one where, like, when the game is loading, the game is like downloading into your system, they let you be Darth Vader and Hoth, and
Yeah,
you're going
you're
in and
right.
you
Yeah,
just
and you're just
slinging that
cutting people.
lightsaber, you're lifting up some of the rebels, cutting them in
It's
half,
tough.
and you know me, I'm a big Darth Vader fan, so to me that just won. So for me, I feel like it's an S, but it could be an A as well. I could see other people saying it's an A. I know it's not, but lower than an A. But for me, just the nostalgic of playing with my friends and just constantly playing online, it was really good.
Yeah. Did
I
you
think
play it,
that's
Kevin?
I did. I didn't really have a lot of people I played it with though. I kind of hopped on. I played the campaign, which was but
Yeah.
it was fun to play the multiplayer stuff. But I do think it's best to evaluate it, like doing kind of the playing it with friends things. Like that's
Yeah.
how I think that's the goal of these things is to really get together a group of people and just have a good time. I think that is the best way to evaluate a game like this.
Yeah.
So
We played it a lot online too, so like that's kind of my thoughts as well. We were online with it in college, probably playing it more than should have, instead of studying. So it was
Instead of
up
studying.
there. For me, Battlefront 2 is even better because the story mode in it's pretty good. They kind of walked back a little bit of that, like having to buy the crates and stuff, and they made it to
Mhm.
where you can just play through stuff. And then eventually on EA Play, they just gave everybody the deluxe edition with everything on it. So now you can just play it, and you can get any of the skins. It's pretty cool. So I think it's better than the first of the new Battlefronts, and I still get on and play it every now and then online, and it works fine. It's a fun game.
I'm okay with the Battlefront being an S and then 2 being, I mean, an A and then 2 being an S. It's definitely
Fine with
because of the
me.
story. The story
It's a
kind of
really
that
good
makes
story.
sense.
a really good
Yeah.
story. The story takes over.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job
for
with that.
me.
Play with Luke.
Yeah. So
It's good. Yeah, I think if you look at any of this, you can see where Star Wars has really shone on video games, and they have done really well as a whole with Battlefront. It's something that people can get into at kind of a broad approach again. And then kind of like what I said earlier, I added Jedi Survivor, but then like it didn't come through, I guess. So we'll chat on it just really briefly. For me, it's still great. The story's good. I think, and this is true with most everything in life I've learned, is when you set the expectations incredibly high, you're almost always going to be disappointed. There's like
yeah.
very few things in this world that are going to live up to outrageous expectations. And so for me, it's almost my fault that I didn't like it as much as Fallen Order because I just thought it was going to be the best game I had ever played in my life. So, Kevin, this is your fault. I went and bought an Xbox Series,
Wow.
whatever it is, to play the game on. That wasn't your fault. I bought it. And then you were like, hey, it's going to look really good on 4K. Like if you're not playing it on 4K, you might not, enjoy it as much. So I bought a new 4K TV and that thing on the same day, and then the TV
Wait,
didn't fit in our
is this an
car.
accusation or a thank you? I'm not sure what's happening right now.
From me, a thank you. I don't know about my wife, but the TV wouldn't even fit. It wouldn't fit in my truck. So
That's
like
hilarious.
we had a friend at Target that was there. Thank goodness. So we like put it in his car, and he actually drove it to my house just by chance. So
Gosh.
I have a lot invested in this game, and it didn't necessarily live up. I don't know.
So I guess it didn't have that I guess surprise factor.
Mm.
I don't know. Some of the characters didn't really resonate with me. I feel like it was a good game. I could give it between an high B or a low A. It was good. But just Fallen Order, man. Fallen Order, just like wow.
So good.
We really fell in love with Cal Kestis, and it was like something new, and we were like, wow, they could really make a good story, a good character.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, like you said, the high expectations. It had a lot of high expectations. Like this game's gonna hit. And don't get me wrong, the game was still fun to play. But I just think some of the characters.
It's still an A for me. It's
An
just
A?
a big jump down from
Mhm.
Fallen
Yeah.
Order. Kevin, do you agree with that? Or
Yeah, I think I would keep it in today because they added a lot of good stuff, right? Like
Mhm.
they added some more lightsaber styles. They added some really cool things with the Force.
Yeah.
But the story pacing was a little off. Like there was a point in the game where I was just kind of felt like it was going on a little too long, and I wasn't sure
Yeah.
what the story was waiting on. I agree with Ricky. Some of the newer, like I didn't really connect with Bode as a character.
He was
I
the
like
worst.
bringing Merritt and Sarah back in. Like that
Yeah.
was good, but
That was good, yeah.
That
Definitely.
Vader scene's incredible too. Like
yeah,
that's
that was
good
great.
stuff.
But I didn't feel really invested in this whole Tanalor thing. I can't even remember the the guy who'd been frozen for however long. What was his name? Like, I can't even tell you because
the
I didn't know
guy. I don't remember.
I didn't know what he had to do with anything. Like, he just kind of got thrown in the story and was kind of loosely tied to things. And
they drop him real quick, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Narrative was a little messier. It wasn't tied together nearly as well as the first one was, because all those plot points just came together so good in Fallen Order. So
yeah,
I felt like if they would have did more like Vader chasing him.
Yes.
Vader and a whole bunch of Inquisitors. I mean, we did get the Inquisitor in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I felt like if it would have focused on them now chasing Cal Kestis and him running for his life.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, how is this guy going to get away from all these Inquisitors? They keep on finding me. And then you fight. It would have been dope if you fought Vader multiple times throughout.
Yeah.
Like you survived a battle and you escaped, and then Vader finds you again. But I don't know what's going to happen in the third game.
Yeah.
Again, still a great game.
Yeah, and I like what you said, like just like finding a way to escape, because I love what they did at the end of Fallen Order. Like, your only option when Vader shows up was to run. Like, like it's Vader. You can't fight him.
Yeah.
Like, you literally just had to run, and that was so intense. And
That
so I
was not
like
my
the
first
idea that
option.
like you encounter Vader and you just got to find a way out. Like, really, that's all you can do. Yeah, I don't know.
So Star Wars Angry Birds is going to be our placeholder for
that one is like.
This is Jedi Survivor. This is not Angry Birds. It's going Jedi Survivor.
Star Wars, that's got to be like above S, man.
That's funny.
I'm an Angry Bird at Survivor.
I meant to tell you this earlier real quick because I just thought about it. You need to put one of those X-Wing games, maybe whichever one. It doesn't matter. They're all amazing, but those got to be up at S, at least one of them.
Okay.
Because those were like, at the time, that was Star Wars gaming, right? People were playing those games. It was intense, it was fun, and it was so Star Wars. I meant to say that earlier, but that was the only one that I had played.
Better late than never.
Well, I do see one that's not on the ranking, and I wouldn't put it as S or an A. I mean, I would put it as an S because, I was 17 years old working at AMC theaters when episode 1 came out, but the episode 1 game was really fun.
Oh yeah,
playing. It just kind of got it at a time. I wouldn't put it all the way in S. I would put it in B. It was a good game. I wouldn't be like
I never played it. That's on PS1, right?
Yeah. So it was fun. I think it was more of the simple fact that we got a new movie coming out, and then they came out with the game for it. It was just so fun, and I remember all my friends talking about it. And I had this game, but I think sometimes I wish I could go back. And so I was a kid that always wanted money. And it was so funny. I would go ahead and sell all my stuff. We will do garage sales. And I remember selling this game at a garage sale. And I don't even know what I got. I don't know if I got like $5 for it. But now that's worth more than $5 to me. And I'm like, why did I do that stuff back then? Yeah. But yeah, this game was definitely really fun, episode 1.
And Ricky had Shadows of the Empire on him too. What happened to that one? I thought we had
added it in. You remember? You saw me throw it in, and now it's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Shadows of the Empire. This
another
was
classic.
You're talking about a game every day after school. Me and my friend Ivan.
Yeah.
I remember his older brother bought this game for him. And I remember him showing me. It's kind of like, guess what I got? This is what I got. So I actually picked this bad boy up recently. For my anniversary, we went to Savannah, Georgia.
Nice.
And I think it was called Planet Fun in Savannah, Georgia. And this was like $12.99 or something like that. And the game still works because I got an N64 that still works. As soon as we got back home for my anniversary, opened this bad boy, popped it in, and I'm like, feels like I'm over Ivan's house all over again.
Yeah. Oh,
that's awesome.
I played the fool out of that game. Oh, so much.
Yeah.
They had the cheat codes where you could like get all the weapons.
Press all the different buttons.
You could turn into a Wampa and walk around and smack people as a Wampa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Well, this Angry Birds is going to be the placeholder for that one. So where do y'all want it to go? A or S?
I think it's an A.
Yeah, I was gonna say A. I think
Yeah.
it's an A.
So
It's an A.
this is Jedi Survivor. This is the Empire one that y'all just said.
Yeah, obviously. Right.
So for posterity, people coming in and watching this that aren't listening, we do not think the Angry Birds are that great. These are placeholders. But if you do love Angry Birds, rock on. Like that's good for y'all. But
you just need to put this graphic on the title screen. just
people,
as the thumbnail.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That would definitely grab a lot of people. You're gonna be like, what? I gotta watch this video.
So yeah, that's our tier ranking. I like to take a look at these at the end just to kind of see where things go. And I think the positive is we didn't list a D. Also kind of a positive is there's like a lot of Star Wars games out there. Like there's some that like we've all played quite a few, and there's some that we've missed. Like there's just so much to choose, which I think is what kind of makes Star Wars cool. Name me any non-sports franchise that goes this deep. I don't know that there's many.
No.
So it's a pretty cool thing.
I mean, it hits that wide a genre of games and has such different things you could pick from. I mean, you could pretty much pick anything.
And for so many years.
Yeah.
And for so many years.
Decades.
I feel like I'm gonna make a list. I know Tony probably already has a list, but I gotta make a list of some of these games that I have not played that you guys played. Definitely want to play them.
Yeah. That's what I want to kind of get on the Switch and see what all I can get on there now, because I still got a little bit of gift card on there, so I may end up picking up a few of these too that I haven't played just after Kevin's glowing recommendations. So I'm excited for that, and I think if we had pushed this maybe 3-4 months down the road, I think Star Wars Outlaws might end up being pretty high on this list. I've got some high hopes for that game, like kind of a GTA-ish Star Wars, if that makes sense. Like it looks pretty cool, kind of going in that underworld situation. So I've got high hopes for that one too.
It's Ubisoft that's making the game, and Ubisoft is a good developer, and just seeing the open world and traveling to different planets. I love that she's kind of like a Han Solo.
Yeah.
And Han Solo, it's that time where Han Solo's frozen in carbonite.
Mm-hmm.
She's talking to Jabba the Hutt.
Yep.
So this time frame, there's so many people that are alive around this time frame. So I'm like, are we gonna get special guest appearance by certain people? I'm excited for the game.
Yeah.
August 30th. Yeah. If you pre-order now, I believe you get the game 2 days before.
Yeah, you get like
August 30th
start. Yeah.
For a cheap price of like $100, you can. This one's up there.
Inflation.
It's up there, but I'm gonna play it. So I mean, I don't know if I get to it right away, but I'm for sure gonna be playing this.
Yeah, it looks fun. Ubisoft, they got a lot of flack for kind of making some bloated worlds at one point. It just had a lot of unnecessary, just things littering the world. But this is the group that made the Division, which those games are pretty well received, and I'm pretty optimistic about it. I like to think it'll be good. So
I think it'll be fun, and I'm sure if it's not, we'll let you know. So
oh yeah, we won't hold back.
We'll let you know. So that's it. That's it for this week's Star Wars tier ranking, the video game edition. Ricky, again, thanks so much for hopping on. This was a whole lot of fun. We will have you back on as often as you would like. Before we go, though, we got to give all the people watching time to either criticize our rankings or to compliment them. Let us know, what you think. So in the comments, if you watch this and you're like, wow, that was terrible, and you like threw something at your screen at something we said, throw it at your screen in the comments. We want to hear it. So let us know what you thought. Otherwise, next week we'll be back with an undecided topic of the podcast. And then the week after, we're probably talking the Acolyte predictions. So again, thanks so much for watching, and we will catch you guys next time.
Peace.